Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to take the intricate and, let's be honest, sometimes overwhelming rules of APA 7th edition formatting and translate them into a really clear visual roadmap to help you structure your professional papers. I know, formatting isn't exactly the most thrilling part of the research process, but mastering it is an absolute superpower for your writing. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty, I want to frame how we should actually look at this. You see, APA style isn't just an arbitrary set of formatting rules designed to give you a headache. It's actually a universally recognized, standardized language. When you format your paper perfectly, it ensures that your academic claims and all that hard-earned research take center stage, completely free of any visual distractions for your reader. So here is our game plan for today. 1. Setting up your paper. 2. Organizing with hierarchical headings. 3. Mastering in-text citations. 4. Formatting tables and figures. And finally, 5. Perfecting the reference list. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Setting Up Your Paper. This is your structural foundation. Every professional paper needs really specific structural anchors. According to the APA guidelines, you absolutely must start with a properly formatted title page, along with a running head that spans across your entire document. Plus, certain sections of your paper require exact, specific labels. For instance, your abstract, which is detailed in Section 2.9 of the manual, needs a definitive section label governed by Section 2.28. And look, these aren't just polite suggestions. They are the required framing that tells a publisher or a professor exactly what they are looking at right out of the gate. Now, you might be wondering, where do all these rules actually come from? Well, the ultimate source of truth is the 7th edition of the publication manual, along with the concise guide to APA style. As noted in the annotated paper we're analyzing today, these books provide the definitive rules for all of your foundational elements. So when in doubt about your structural setup, this is exactly where you go. Moving right along to Section 2, Organizing with Hierarchical Headings. Think of headings as a direct, visual roadmap for your reader. APA uses a descending, sequential hierarchy to nest information. It's kind of like a set of Russian nesting dolls. You don't just pick font sizes at random. You start with a Level 1 heading for your primary sections, which usually come right after your introduction. Then, if you need to break that section down further, you use a Level 2 heading for those subsections. And if you have highly granular topics inside that subsection, you drop down to a Level 3 heading. It's a very strict system of nesting that keeps the logic of your paper totally pristine. Check this out. This is a great illustration of what proper paragraph formatting looks like out in the wild. Notice that incredibly clean structure? The headings safely anchor the text. The spacing, the indents, the alignment, it all works together harmoniously, so the reader's eye effortlessly tracks your argument without getting hopelessly lost in a giant wall of text. Okay, let's tackle what is often the most stressful part for writers, Section 3. Mastering in-text citations. Think of in-text citations as literally the receipts for your academic claims. If you state a fact, you've got to prove exactly where you got it. The absolute key here is understanding the difference between the two main types. First, we have narrative citations. This is where the author names are woven directly and naturally into your sentence structure, followed immediately by the publication year in parentheses. On the flip side, we have parenthetical citations. This is when the author and the year are tucked away together inside parentheses, usually way at the very end of your sentence. Let's look at our real example straight from our source. Here, we're looking at a narrative citation used to paraphrase methods from a couple of studies. See how the authors, Knoll et al. And Morrison, act as the actual grammatical subject of the sentence? The text reads, appeared in Knoll et al., followed by the year 2010 in parentheses, and Morrison, followed by 2011. It reads perfectly as a natural English sentence while completely fulfilling those strict citation requirements. Now, conversely, let's look at parenthetical citations. What happens when you need to cite multiple works simultaneously? Meaning, you've got several different papers supporting the exact same claim you just made. Well, you bundle them all together inside one single set of parentheses. And how do you separate them? You use semicolons. It's brilliantly simple, keeping the text flowing nicely without bogging your reader down in a massive, clunky list of names. Of course, there are always edge cases that can easily trip you up, and our annotated sample paper highlights a few of them. For instance, what on earth do you do if you are citing multiple works published by the exact same author in the exact same year? Well, the manual dictates you use letters after the year, like 2020A and 2020B, just to tell them apart. The text also details the specific formats for citing works with just one author versus two authors, and even how to elegantly format a See Also citation right inside your parentheses. All right, let's switch gears a bit. Section 4. Formatting tables and figures. When you are trying to convey complex statistical or comparative data efficiently, you use visuals. But every single table or figure must have 4 mandatory parts to comply with APA standards. First up, the designated number, like Table 1 or Figure 2. Second, a clear descriptive title. Third, the actual visual component itself, whether that's a chart, a graph, or a data grid. And finally, an explanatory note at the bottom to clarify any abbreviations, statistics, or sources. If you are missing even one of these 4 elements, your formatting just isn't complete. Furthermore, our source material makes a really vital point about placement. You must never, ever just drop a chart into your document out of nowhere without any context. You always have to use a text callout to guide the reader to that specific visual. So your paragraph needs to explicitly say something like, as shown in Table 2, right before the table actually appears. The text and the visuals have to be explicitly linked together.
And finally, we arrive at Section 5, perfecting the reference list. Zooming way back out to the very end of your document, the reference list is honestly perhaps the most detail-oriented part of the entire paper. It requires its own specific, perfectly centered section label. But beyond that, the sample paper shows us highly detailed formats for a variety of source types. For example, it breaks down exactly how to format journal articles that might happen to lack a DOI, or what to do if an issue number is completely missing. It even gives you the specific punctuation rules for what to do if an article's title naturally ends with a question mark. I mean, they really thought of everything. For all of these incredibly complex bibliographical challenges, the official publication manual is your best friend. It remains the ultimate troubleshooting guide. The annotated paper we reviewed today is super helpful, absolutely. But this book is the definitive source to ensure every single comma, every capitalized letter, and every italicized title is just absolutely flawless. I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. Formatting can sometimes feel like a total chore, but it is actually a powerful tool for clarity. Once you fully master this universal formatting language, and it just becomes second nature to you, imagine how much more mental energy and focus you can devote strictly to the brilliant ideas, the arguments, and the discoveries within your actual research. It's a real game changer. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, keep learning and keep organizing those brilliant ideas.